Assalamu alaikum. Hello, I'm Khalil Alika.
And I'm Zahir Parker, and welcome to accidentalmuslims.com.
So accidentalmuslims.com is a movement, a platform where we showcase present and future leaders to help us live with purpose.
And we believe that everybody has a story to tell. This podcast hopes to add value. So welcome and enjoy.
This is Aslam Levy, and you are listening to accidentalmuslims.com.
Aslam, welcome. Finally get to meet you in Johannesburg. So we don't have Zahir Parker here because he's in Cape Town. But thanks a lot for making the time.
No problem. Anything to help a cause that tries to inspire people to do better.
What does Aslam Levy do?
So what I do is I try to help government better provide information and interaction service with citizens via digital communication platforms. And it sounds very complex, but essentially we want government to be more open and share more information with citizens and make it easier for citizens to get government information.
Officially, what's your role in government?
Okay, so I'm currently the director of online platforms at the department called Government Communication and Information Systems. So I head up the South African government's online communication platforms, and those are websites, social media platforms, and mobile applications.
Wow, so that's like a huge task.
It is a huge task, and the portfolio just seems to grow daily. But I think it's an important portfolio that someone needs to at least get the ball rolling on.
So did you get up one morning and say, look, I'm going to work for the government and try to make it better? Or just by chance?
Look, I never actually thought that I would end up in government. I come from a family that was not very political, or we never really had political conversations in the home. And so I was never sensitized around the role of government and politics. So my family was or is very religious. And so because of that, the focus is more on the deen and being steadfast in prayers and not worrying as much about the goings on in the world. And so my journey actually started with doing e-learning and online learning. And I at that point developed a passion for using technology to help people. So first it was e-learning, then it went into e-marketing with Cape Town Tourism. So there it was about helping the city market itself. And I realized that there's power within communication technology to improve people's lives, indirectly or directly. And I think that led me finally to government and me feeling that I can improve people's lives with communication technology in the government space.
What made you move? I know you moved from Cape Town to Johannesburg, Victoria. I'm sure it wasn't an easy task or decision to make.
It definitely wasn't an easy choice, primarily because my wife and I, we don't have any direct family or friends up this side. It's 1,500 kilometers away from everyone that you know or have known for the last 30 years of your life. So that was the big challenge, the big sacrifice. It was missing the birthdays and the newborn babies and to a certain degree, some of the challenges we've had in the last 3 years are when someone passes away, trying to catch a flight on that day to get home in time for the janaza. And so those are some of the things we knew we were giving up, and we knew were going to be problems. But the benefits for us were that both of us are ambitious. We both want to do work that is meaningful at scale, that really reaches a lot of people. And we both felt that a move to Pretoria would give us those opportunities, and I think it has.
It doesn't matter what job you're in, to have that impact, to make that impact and serve humanity. So you definitely miss the sisters, and is the Gatsby's here?
No, they have something here called an AK-47.
Acklewire, is it?
Yeah, things I've not had in a long time because my first experience was so disappointing.
Okay.
And then I've not had again. But definitely when I am in Cape Town, I go have a Gatsby or a Salome or something. And you know what? Maybe I think partially the other reason why I don't have it here is it still makes Cape Town special for me when I go down. And so then I go down and sometimes I've already packed a Gatsby in a bag and carried it up to Pretoria. Definitely got some points with the wife when you come home with a Gatsby from Cape Town. So, but it's those kind of things. Sometimes things need to be kept. Let's use the word sacred, and you make it special, and you try not to water it down. And so Cape Town, we always try to keep the special parts of it there. Because we've been here now for 3.5 years. But Cape Town always still for us is home, and we think of it as home. So
So I've also been traveling a bit here to come to Joburg. I'd like to hear your take on what's the difference between working in Joburg and working in Cape Town. People say Joburg's fast-paced. There's more hustle here.
I think Joburg. If you look at Joburg and how the city was founded. Joburg was founded because of the gold that was found here. So the initial group of people that came to this barren piece of land was people that wanted to make a success, people that wanted to be in business, people that had a drive to make more of their lives. And I think that energy has remained in the city. And so the city still draws people from around the country that want to achieve things with their careers and in business. And so the upside of that is that many of the people that you meet that are here because they want to make things happen. So it's not difficult to find someone that has a similar mindset to yourself. And so there's a lot of networking that happens. There's a lot of movement within companies, people moving and getting better opportunities. And so for a career move, and if you are in that phase of your life, Joburg is a good move for many people. Some people don't enjoy it because it is a different living experience compared to Cape Town or Durban. And I find that a lot of the people that come from the coastal cities have similarities in the way they perceive their lifestyles or the lifestyles that they want to live. So there is that difference both in terms of the work experience and the lifestyle element of it.
Yeah, I also feel that in Johannesburg, the social circles are bigger as compared to Cape Town. In Cape Town, we tend to stick to our cliques, on weekends. The whites stick with the whites, the blacks stick with the blacks, the Chinese stick with the Chinese, Indians stick with the Indians. And when I come here to Johannesburg, you'll see, do you think you're in a different country? Tell me about what's your definition of success?
So, for me, and the way I look at success, I believe that every soul is on a unique journey when they are on earth or on dunya and they are here. Every soul is on a unique journey. And because of that, there should be 7 billion definitions of success. There should be a different goal for each journey that soul is on. So I don't think we can have the singular definition of success and say that should apply to all 7 billion of us on this planet, all trying to find our way. So I don't think there's a blanket success. I think for me personally, I feel that for me success is when you feel that what you're doing brings purpose into your life. And for me, it's about as much as possible trying to move other people's lives forward. And I've come to realize that you do that by improving systems. So I want to successfully improve the government system, firstly in our country and maybe in future in other countries. But at the same time, that is one facet of success for me. That it's a multifaceted item. So the other side is I also want to be a good husband, a good father, hopefully a good grandfather. And the one thing that I'm very envious of and that I would actually prefer over any kind of career success I'm very envious of people that have passed away, and you will see either a son or a daughter of that person post something on Facebook and say, my father passed away 5 years ago and I miss him and I wish that he could be here. Or even sometimes I know that there was a young guy in Durban that got knocked over by a drunken driver, and people in the industry who knew him were posting on Facebook that they can't believe this guy's not around anymore. And so they miss him. He added so much value into the lives of everyone around him when he was away, when he was now passed away. People still yearn to have that person or remember that person. And I definitely don't want to be forgotten. Like, I don't want to pass away one day and no one ever even cares.
Remembers you.
So
you work in government and you're trying to improve the systems. Do people ever like blame you or accuse you? Aslam, come on, man, you're working in government. Government's corrupt.
I think it took me a while to become confident in telling people I work for government, because there was always the stereotype that I felt that people would see me as soon as I would tell people I work in government. So if you tell people I work in government, then you're just one of those lazy people who didn't want to work in the private sector, got a nice cushy job in government. So I had to first break that, and so now what I do is I tell people what I do, and I try to explain to them how government actually works. And many times I get people then afterwards saying, you know what, I never realized that there were people like you doing what you're doing within government. And then they will say, actually, you know what, stick in there. We need people like you. Stay there. Do what you're doing. So you do still. And I always say to people, it's one of those not popular things to say when you're in a new crowd and people are like, people are sharing where you work. And so when you say you work from government, it's like almost like it's a downer. But I'm not saying that there aren't people within government that are abusing the system. There are, definitely. But I also want people to know that there are people in government that do care a lot about the system and about citizens.
100%. And I want to take this opportunity to show my appreciation, because I know you're doing some sterling work for us. And I see you on Facebook a lot. So how do you balance, I know your social media is part of your job, so how do you balance being present with your family and also being online, almost 24/7? Do you find that also a challenge in today's times?
It's a big challenge, and it's something I'm actually still grappling with, because the challenge with especially things like Facebook is that it's very easy for you to believe that is the way things actually are, when everyone's actually giving you just a slice of their lives. And so a lot of people start comparing their real lives with other people's Facebook lives.
100%.
And so you try to build something that is in fact not real. So for me, it's very important to spend time, like physical FaceTime with my daughter and my wife. And sometimes what me and my wife do is we'll catch each other being on our phones at the same time, and then we'll say to each other, okay, 10 to 10, we're just going to stop. And we agree, and in 10 to 10, we put the phones off, we put them down, and okay, it's done. But sometimes you need to remind each other. You don't realize, you'll be sitting and you pick up the phone, and then you start, and then 15, 20 minutes have passed, and so we are open about it. And that, you have to have that kind of honesty within your relationships, where you can say to the other person, okay, I see we are now kind of getting drawn in. Let's make a time. Take 5 more minutes, we finish what we're doing, and now it's family time.
I know that is challenging, especially for today's youth as well. You look at my nieces and my cousins, they're permanently on their phone. I mean, their phone is part of their body. Which is quite scary.
What is scary, actually, is that I think an even bigger challenge is coming in terms of the evasiveness of technology, and the benefits are starting to be clear, but the negatives of wearable technology. think is something we're going to struggle with, because at the moment, your phone is in your pocket. So when the phone beeps, you actually have to take it out to interact. But things like watches just takes you a turn of your wrist and there it is. And the ease that it's increasingly more easy to be pulled by a notification.
Yeah.
And I think for the next generation, when you start getting into, I know Google Glass tried to make an early push into that space, but I think at some point we'll have wearables on the face where you don't even have to do anything. The data is just, the content's just
there.
It's there.
Sure.
I made a joke to a colleague of mine once, because we were in a room and most of the people were sitting like with heads down, looking at their phones, flicking through their phones. And he was saying how weird it looks. And I said, that looks weird now. A few years from now, people are going to be wearing these spectacles, but they're going to be watching things. So you'll walk into a room and everyone will be staring at a blank wall because they're actually watching something.
Yeah. It's quite scary.
It's scary. But these are the challenges we'll have to face and work around.
What about the term open gov? What is that about?
So the challenge with government, and I mean, from the environment that you work in on a daily basis, you know that there's a lot of data within government. A lot of it is locked. Firstly, the problem is so much of it is on paper. So firstly, what we're saying is there's a lot of public benefit if that data is exposed digitally, so that people can be more aware of what government's doing, firstly, and what citizens can do with government data to improve their lives. An example I made at the TEDx was a mobile app developer could develop a mobile app that allows a single mother that moves to a new area, and let's say, for example, her child becomes ill. She's just moved to that area. She has no idea where the closest hospital is or how to get there. A mobile app developer could develop an app where she opens the app, she says, where's the closest hospital to where I am right now? And that app could then go and pull open data from the Department of Health that has all the locations of the hospital. So immediately that data that lives within government, all the hospital's locations, can be seen by that lady. But now she needs to get there. How does she get there? She now knows how far the hospital is from her. What if the Department of Transport made available all the transport hubs, all the BRT bus routes and timetables, and that could be absorbed into the app. So immediately she can then now have an app that tells her where the closest hospital is and how to get there and what times the bus will take her. But where we currently are is we are still opening up that data. We're still trying to unlock all that data that lives within government.
Okay.
And that's the concept.
So it's an ongoing process. Gov 2.0 is the same thing.
So Gov 2.0 is still a fuzzy concept because there isn't a singular definition of what Gov 2.0 is. But the general feeling is that a Gov 2.0 is a digitally enabled government. So it's taking the old, inverted commas, old government and kind of augmenting it, powering it up with digital technology, allowing things to be faster, more secure, more responsive, more transparent. And so for many people, that is government 2.0. The challenge is we've been talking about e-government probably for 15, 20 years now. And so people start to, when you hear something for a decade, you start to kind of lose faith in it. And so government 2.0 is almost like a rebranding of e-government, because let's rebuild confidence in this concept of a digital government.
Okay, understand. So you're a recent TEDx speaker. Congrats on that. Definitely a bucket list tick. So what was the TEDx talk about?
So my talk was about creating a resilient, inclusive government, and I'll just break that down very quickly. So resilient becomes an important item because government gets pulled by different forces. Sometimes it's political, like where we are now. We're within that 8-9 year political change cycle. So now government's under the strain of those political forces. Sometimes government is pulled because of business and private sector. Sometimes government is pulled because citizens wanted to do certain things. And so the system is under strain. And so what I've realized is that you've got to build a government system. A lot of people don't realize that for many people, government is that building. And government is that trash truck that comes and picks up your garbage. But it's actually an interconnected system that is only as strong as its weakest link. And so my talk was around that system needs to also be strengthened by citizens making links to it. And that's how you strengthen the system. And then you want the system also to be inclusive. You don't want government doing things and developing things that only work for the privileged few. You want government to do things that improves all of society. So an example of this within my work is when I develop a mobile app, I ensure that the latest version of the app works on Android as good as it works on the iOS version. Because I know that most people are using iOS and I want to include them. I don't want to make an Apple-only app because I can offer better functionality and it's much more amazing and it's much more fancier, but it excludes the broader masses. So it's about being inclusive, bringing everyone in.
The bottom line of the talk is for us to be active citizens.
Yeah.
Okay. So we always think of government being like a two-way relationship between government and citizen. Whereas it's a integrated system of okay.
I think where this view of this the view of this relationship comes in because we vote, or actually some of us vote. We need everyone to vote. And so we feel that we've signed this contract with government and it's only us and government that are in this relationship. But as I've mentioned before, there are other forces at play. So the private sector wants government to act in a certain way. And citizens want government to act in a certain way. And so government gets caught in between. It's trying to appease both sides. And the only way we get government to do what sometimes is best for the citizens is to lobby government, to join civil society organizations, to sign petitions, to do all those things, to encourage government to do the right thing. And it's not a political party thing, because I see it across the government space that government sometimes look like they will make wrong choices if we don't intervene.
So what are your hours like and the traffic in Pretoria too? I mean, you stay in Pretoria as well, okay?
I try to keep my hours as close to an 8 to 5 as possible because of trying to balance the family life balance. So I try as much as possible. Every now and then there'll be something that happens after hours or over a weekend. Every now and then I'll just check. And this is where I was talking earlier about having to pull myself is I would just check Twitter, for example. What are the trending topics? Just to be aware if there are any topics that are bubbling up that government should be aware of. So, for example, we've got a WhatsApp group that has many of the senior government communicators in it. Tonight, I log on and I see something like minimum wage must fall or something. I would then send that to those communicators and then say, look, guys, this is now in our environment. Citizens are talking about this minimum wage issue. What are the concerns? What don't they completely understand, or where is their lack of information? And it gives those colleagues of mine time to go out and source more facts, get more information, put out a media statement, and that's the relationship between me and them. So, because luckily for me, I can check all those things on my phone if I'm at home.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in the office. That's what.
So I picture you like having this dashboard of all the social media trends and interesting. Wow.
Yeah, so we try to have software that allow us to see conversations that people are having.
Okay.
And an example I made again at the TEDx was the challenge for me in communication is that we are the ears, the eyes, and the mouth of government. We're the communicators and with the listeners. But sometimes we can't make the hands and feet move the way we want it to. But at least what we can do is tell the organization what it is we're seeing. And so when it was the peak of Fees Must Fall, around the time that the pastor, I think it was around the time the pastor got shot, there was a lot of conversation around police brutality starting to emerge on social media. People were like, hey, but the police are now being more violent. And the next day I went into the operations room, and fortunately someone from SAPS was there, and I actually was able to pull that data, pull that graph up and show that the number of times the word police brutality is being mentioned on social media is increasing. So I had to say to them, you guys clearly are starting to lose the moral high ground here. People are starting to not feel that you are containing the situation and you're containing your own selves well enough. And thankfully, after that meeting, we saw a more measured approach from the police.
So it's scientific, so you actually can show them the metrics.
Yeah. You can show them, look, it's
people are talking about it.
Yes.
That's
and once public perception swings against you, the swing against you is much faster than rebuilding the trust.
Yeah.
So that was the key thing for them. Like, if this thing swings against you, you're already trying to regain trust after Marikana. That has taken you how many years to at least rebuild some confidence. Something like this puts you back there.
Yeah.
I think it went it home. And so my point at the TEDx was, we might not be responding how you want us to respond all the time, but we are listening.
Yeah.
So speak, use social media, talk about it, get your friends to talk about it, make a noise because someone is listening.
That's brilliant.
And it's us.
Thanks, man. Thanks a lot for that. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
In 3 words? I've never thought of myself in 3 words. I think I'm very focused. I can become very focused. Sometimes I think almost homing missile like. It's actually the upside of my stubbornness.
Yeah.
It's actually linked. So when I lock onto something, I want to do that thing. So
you won't let go.
Yeah, I won't. I just have this thing of, it takes me a while though to lock. But when I know that this is the right thing and this is what I want to do, I almost become just completely captured by it. Which has its pros and its cons. The pros is very focused. The cons are sometimes you need to let some things go. You can't always just drive towards them. So that's the first. I think I can be very focused. I think I want to say forward thinking, but without making it sounding like I'm
like you're Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but I like watching trends.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that is very much someone that is forward thinking in the sense of I'm watching trends, I'm looking at the steps that are taking place, and I try to preempt where things would go. And it's very important in my line of work with digital communication because the space moves that fast to be aware of what the next step possibly could be. And so for a lot of people would ask me, so how do you know that this would happen, or why are you doing this? And I say, I watch trends. I just watch the way I see the trend to be going. And I think that would be the second thing. Maybe I guess forward thinking is the word that would cover that one. I guess open-minded.
Yeah.
I think I'm very open-minded. I would position myself as an open-minded person. I'm open to anyone's point of view because I'm of the belief that you are able to accept. You are able to listen to anyone's point of view. It does not mean that you have to agree and you have to make it part of yourself, but you can at least just give them an ear. And so I'm open to anyone's suggestion on the way they see things and on their belief systems and the way they see the world.
I was reading this book and we were talking about they took out stats on leadership, and they surveyed many people about what are the traits, the key traits of leaders, and there was 4 traits that was mentioned in almost every response. One was honesty, one was competence, one was inspiring, and the other one was forward thinking. So, inshallah, you'll be a great leader one day.
Shukran.
If not, you're already. Let's talk about maybe the Quran and your faith and how it relates to your work. You said you come from a very religious background. Do you have any favorite Quranic story or verse? Or
there is one that I've thought of before, and I think it relates a lot to my point earlier about being open-minded. And if I remember correctly, I think it's Surah Al-Baqarah, it's the second, where it's all about Allah creating Nabi Adam and that creation moment, and where it links to, firstly to me personally, and then secondly to my work, is for me personally, it links to, we have a purpose to be here. Like, we were created to be here, yes, to worship the Almighty and our Creator, but also to live good lives and to help others. And so we're not here by accident. And so I link it to that moment when Allah says, I will create man, and we were created. So that's firstly for me on a personal level. We are here for a reason. We're not here by accident. We're not, right? And the second is there's a line within that surah where Allah says, and I'm going to paraphrase now, so I don't know exactly, but He says, I will create generations of men or succession of men. And the angels then ask something like, so will there also be of them that are corrupt and that would shed blood while we, the angels, are worshipping you? And then Allah's response is, I know what you don't know. And so for me, it's like, so this earth for me was never meant to be perfect. It was never meant to be flawless. And I think that there was almost this understanding in the beginning that Allah just says He's creating it in the way He's creating it because He knows things that we would never ever know. And so for me, it's about then how I take this into my work is that this world was never going to be perfect. But what can I do to make it better if that imperfection was always just meant to be there? And so I like that section of the Quran about why we are here and the imperfection of this earth and how it relates to us improving society at large and all.
Thanks for sharing that. Tell me one thing about the future of South Africa. What's your take? I mean, people are very despondent. There's unease with regards to the future, where we're going, especially corruption that you mentioned. So what's your take on that, seeing that you working in government?
Look, firstly, to work in government through this phase, you have to be very optimistic.
Yeah.
And I am optimistic. And I think to a certain degree, there are a lot of things that are wrong. There are a lot of things that are failing us at the moment. But I genuinely feel that we will hit a slump and then we will grow from there. I don't think this is a isolated problem within our country. I think more broadly, globally, there is an unease within society around the kind of leaders that we have. And a lot of people were very shocked that Donald Trump won in America. And like I said to you, I watched the trends. And so for a while leading up to that, I was also sharing content on Facebook. Like, there's also this artificial intelligence that has predicted for the last 3 elections who the president would be. And this AI is saying it's going to be Trump. And if it's not Trump, it's going to be the first time this AI is wrong. And I was also watching that same trend and thinking, this is becoming more and more likely. So when it happened, I wasn't completely shocked. It was like, well, the trend was there.
Yeah.
But the underlying thing is that people are unhappy with the way the world is being run at the moment. There's a lot of inequality. You see a lot of people at the bottom feeling exhausted, drained out, not making ends meet. And you've got top CEOs making millions. And I just feel that it's more of a global shift that's happening. I think South Africa, we caught within the clutches of that, but I think we are also going through a shift. I think the future is more positive. I definitely believe it's more positive. And so my job, I feel, is to hold the systems in place through this tough period.
Inshallah. If there are youth and graduates out there probably thinking of going into government, what advice would you give them?
Have lots of patience. Have lots and lots of patience. Working in government is like surfing. It's like surfing. So you have to time the waves, and the longer you're in government, the easier you will start to see the wave. There's just momentum that goes back and forth within government. Sometimes there's a particular project or program or focus that is just moving forward, and you've kind of got to just catch that wave and ride it in. You will wear yourself out swimming against the current within government. You have to have patience. You have to be able to time when you do things. And if you come in, and we all do this, and it's very easy to spot the new people in government. It's the bright, fluffy tail, shiny eyes, I'm going to change the world. And they find themselves swimming against the current. And by the time the wave is there, they've burnt themselves out. And so my advice is, it takes time. It does take time. But you start to learn to work within the system. And also, if you're new and you're coming into government, understand that it's not a perfect system. But you have to do the best you can with the resources and the people that you have.
My last question, what are you most grateful for?
That's the easiest question. Family.
Okay.
Family is the thing that I'm most grateful for, because no matter what challenge or phase of my life I've been through, I've always been able to fall back on family being there. And technology helps that, being up here in Pretoria, because we have a WhatsApp group with all my cousins in there, and we share photos and we share jokes and we tease each other, and we share photos of when we were 4 and 5 years old, which is now close to 30 years ago. And you realize that you can take away everything. You can take away all the materialistic things, all the accolades, all the successes. Like, that's that layer that's there. And you know what I've also found is sometimes you imagine these successful people that you always see in magazines and newspapers and things. And sometimes you just fumble across their social media accounts, and when you look at it, it's photos of kids. It's photos of their kids. It's photos of them spending time with their family. And then you realize, you know what? That's what's actually
it's most important. So what's next for Aslam?
What is next?
Working for Google, Facebook.
I've got good relationships with people at Google and Facebook. And there's been moments where I've had those conversations about a Google and a Facebook. And there was a time also when I was having conversations with people that work in the United Nations and those kind of things. And I would like to be able to tell you what I exactly know is next.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now that 4 years ago, I would not know that I'd be sitting in Johannesburg, working in Pretoria for the last 3 years. So I can only say that my next choices will be to find ways to even further scale up the work that I do to help people in some way. Where, how, and with what tools.
Aslam, I want to thank you for coming.
Super.
And you are making an impact. You are a leader. And shukran.
Afwan. And shukran for having me. It was nice actually coming through. And I look forward to hearing some of your next speakers.
So that's it for today's show. We hope we added value. We hope you enjoyed it. But most of all, we hope our guests inspired you to live with purpose. Don't forget to send us your suggestions via info@accidentalmuslims.com. If you know anybody out there that is inspiring, that's leading, that's living with purpose, please do contact us.
And remember, feedback is our oxygen. So follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I hope you enjoyed. God bless. Assalamu alaikum.